Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's Edwin, the comic jabroni, and welcome to episode 5 of Arcs and Minis. This is a series that I drop every week on Friday where I talk about a story arc or mini series ranging anywhere between 3 and 6 issues long that you may or may not have heard about. If you stuck around to the end of last week's episode, you know that this week we are going over the Aftershock series from 2016 called American Monster. Now, before we get into it, make sure that you stick around to the end of this episode to see what we'll be covering next week. So, American Monster, like I said, it's from Aftershock Comics, came out in January, or issue 1 came out January of 2016, and it is written by Brian Azzarello, whose notable works include 100 Bullets, The Joker, and Batman Damned. And the artwork is done by Juan Doe. Juan Doe has some notable work: Animosity, The Rise, which is another Aftershock series, Moonshine, and Legion of Monsters from Marvel. So American Monster has, like I said, six issue series. This is issue number 1. Here is issue number 2. My favorite cover out of the 6. This is issue number 3. Issue number 4. There's number 5. And the last one, issue number 6. Now, along with these 6 covers, there are 1 in 25 covers for these that can be found online. I'll go ahead and be posting those pictures up. So let's go ahead and put issue number 1 back out. Now, this story, like I said, came out January 2016. It was a highly anticipated crime story. There were a lot of people waiting to get into this story because Aftershock at the time was a very new publisher. I think Animosity had probably just started coming out, so everybody was looking forward to American Monster, especially with Brian Azzarello at the helm writing. He has done some awesome work. So it is a small town story dealing with politics, family issues. There's some teenage boredom issues going on in here, and a lot of social, cultural issues going on in the story, all wrapped around this crime fiction. It is a very slow and deliberate story. In issue 1, you do get all of the main characters kind of introduced, but you don't really know their names. You don't know what's really going on, except that there's some crimes going on, and there is this new main character named Theo Montclair that just came into town. So elements of this story deal with racism, the aftermath of the wars going on in Afghanistan and Iraq, dangers of religious demagogues in America, and the end results of unchecked greed, right? There are 3 storylines going on kind of at once, but they all seem to be connected, right? You have the main story with Theo Montclair, who is this veteran of the war, of the Afghan war. He's a scarred man. He is red. You don't really understand why he is the way he looks until later on. And he's in the town. You also get these teenagers in this small town who are bored, who are just out there doing what teenagers do, kind of dumb stuff that they're going to get in trouble for. And then you have another story with this Nazi gang in town, or they're ex-Nazis. They have these SS tattoos, and you're thinking at some point this Theo Montclair and this gang, they're going to probably go at it, right? So as far as story goes, right, because I always break down these comics and these story arcs into 3 different ratings: the story, the artwork, and the spec value. Well, as far as story, I'd have to give it a 2 out of 5. It didn't really, it's so slow and deliberate that I just never really got into it. And the biggest reason is because this was canceled after 6 issues. So issues 1 through 5 are the first volume, and then you get issue 6, and then it was canceled after that. So maybe a lot of people didn't really buy it. Aftershock didn't get behind it as much as people wanted to, but it is so slow and deliberate that you never get a payoff. After issue 6, you're wondering what the heck is going on. So that kind of dropped the rating down for me. If this was continued on, and you got 10 issues, 15, 20 issues to kind of understand what's going on with this Theo Montclair, I would have gave it a higher rating. But for me, 2 out of 5, guys. Okay, artwork. Let's get into the artwork. I give it 2 out of 5. Juan Doe's artwork, it's not very detailed. It is very dark. I'm going to be posting the pictures like I always do. It is a very dark, heavy line work in there. The background is really black background. The dark colors that are used, kind of underlines the dark story, which is kind of cool. I'll give it that. Juan Doe style, it really brings out the anger in these issues. There's a lot going on. He usually shows this man, this red Theo Montclair, in the background a lot, and you see he's a big hulking Andre the Giant type of man, really huge. And each character really has a distinctive style. I got to give it that, but it's not my cup of tea as far as artwork goes. That's why I gave it 2 out of 5. So let's get into the spec value. You guys know Comic Jabroni, I love me some spec, but I gotta say, 0 probably spec value, maybe a 1 if Hulu or Netflix, somebody decides to make this into a TV show. But seeing as it was canceled after 6 issues, I really don't see that happening. Aftershock has come out with such better comics that you might want to sink your teeth into other than this one story, like Animosity, Black Eyed Kids, A Walk Through Hell. Those are probably stories that you're going to want to get into other than this American Monster. You can find these on eBay and on My Comic Shop for very cheap. I saw them anywhere between $1 to maybe $3. So that might entice you into at least, giving it a chance because it's such a cheap series to really get into. So that's American Monster for you guys. Issues 1 through 6. You get a crime story in there. You get some violence, political themes going on throughout the 6 issues. Not my favorite. But I did read it just to get it onto the show, Arcs and Minis, because I want to not only go over DC and Marvel, I want to do independent stories as well. Independents need love. Okay, guys? So, remember to stay tuned. At the very end, we're going to go over what's going on next episode of Arcs and Minis. But this series right here, not my favorite. Let me know. Is it something that you guys have read or have picked up or are thinking about picking up? I don't know. Let me know. But until next time, guys, take it easy. Peace.
The impossible has happened. Batman is on the verge of being taken down by an enemy he cannot defeat. A virus for which there is no cure. And the only hope for his salvation is the Joker. Who infected Batman? And what does the clown prince of crime know? And how will the Dark Knight get that information? To find out more, stay tuned for the next episode of Arcs and Minis.